Hi folks, this video will be very quick like a lot of the other vector videos. This one will be quick because you already know how to add vectors. That's a video we just did. This one is on subtracting vectors, and if you recall in school when your teacher taught you how to subtract two numbers, 3 minus 2 is 1, some teachers have said when you subtract you are really adding the opposite, so the opposite of 2 being negative 2. So 3 plus negative 2 is also just 1. Well, that's what happens with vectors, is you end up adding, just like this, but you add the opposite. Okay? We're going to add the opposite. So let's try that here. Here's our first vector. I'm going to draw it here. Here's our second vector. Whoa, too bad I can't draw straight. Let's try this out. There we go, that's a little better. And let's move them over. Here's vector u, here's vector v. Now what we want to do is add these vectors, but add the opposite. So it's like saying u plus negative v. So this vector here is v. We want to draw, really quickly, the opposite of vector v is negative vector v, okay? So I try to draw the same length, something parallel to this, but instead of going left to right, this one goes right to left. Okay, so then I'm going to show you that normally I'm going to use the head to tail method, which we talked about before. Okay, and here's our first vector, and our second vector this time is going to be right here. And I'm using that head to tail method. And so when I subtract these vectors, and I'll quickly write them in, here's vector u, here's vector negative v. All I'm doing is adding the opposite, and I've drawn them out like this. I'm adding the opposite. So all I want to do is draw in the resultant vector now from here to here. And this technically is vector u minus v. Okay, this is our resultant vector here in yellow, and that's what your teacher would be looking for as an answer in this situation. Okay, we have just subtracted these two vectors. You add the opposite, so you take the opposite of what you have for the second vector, you change the direction, same length, but change direction, and put it together head to tail, and then you're done. Okay, I think I have another page here in case there's some more questions here. Given the vectors u and v, draw the vector u minus v. Okay, so here's u. I'm going to just do the same thing I did before. I'm really sorry, my drawing is so terrible. There we go. And this one is going like this, and I'll try really hard to make that. There we go. So here's vector v. Here is vector u. I'm supposed to subtract them. I'm supposed to take u minus v. Okay? The only thing is, remember, we have to find the opposite of this vector here. So I wonder if I can do this. Draw right on top of here. That's the opposite of the vector, of vector v. Yes, I did. It works. Pretty cool. So you put them head to tail like this. There's vector u. Here's vector negative v, or negative vector v. And then I draw in the resultant vector from the start to the finish. And that is the vector that we were looking for. U minus v. Vector u minus vector v. It's really messy, but at least now you know how to subtract two vectors. It's easier than you thought, especially if you already know how to add two vectors. Hopefully I've said enough and that you kind of get this interesting little topic. Take care.